Why is pain so hard to explain? Back in June of this year, I went through some of the worst pain I had ever experienced. I was born with a condition called pectus excavating, where my breastbone sank into my chest. So I had to get surgery to get that fixed. And one of the few posters in the hospital was a chart like this for measuring pain. Yeah, mainly, mainly the one in the bottom right with the emojis. And um, it went from a happy emoji for a 0 to no pain to a sad, distress emoji for a pain of 10. I always thought the scale was just limited our way to express pain because something like pain isn't as simple as a number or a face. Describing pain is difficult due to its subjective nature, the complexity of the biological and psychological components, and the limits of the current ways we measure it. And I think the emoji poster and these scales are further proof of that. Because pain is such a more personal and subjective thing. Nobody experiences pain the same way as someone else. So there really is no one way to describe it. Pain is subjective. Like chronic pain, for example. Chronic pain is something that affects millions and millions of people, but its subjective nature makes it really challenging to convey. Boyle 2023. Millions can suffer from the same condition, and yet they will all convey their pain differently because pain is different for everyone. Stubbing a toe might be a day ruiner for me, but might just be an inconvenience to someone else. Describing pain becomes a bit harder when you factor in the emotional state someone might be in while they're trying to describe it. Like Patrick Boyle said in 2023, pain perception is influenced by emotional and psychological states. This subjectivity of pain makes it even more difficult to communicate and 10 times harder to create universal pain communication strategies and management. Like the emoji poster, the current ways we use to measure pain are terrible for capturing the full complexity of pain. Scales like the 1 to 10 scale and the verbal pain intensity scale do not do the pain people feel justice because they are not descriptive enough to paint the full picture. Which is why it can be so hard for people with chronic pain to get the help they need because, as Dr. Cervalker described it, it's like a fire alarm going off, but there's no fire. These scales do an injustice to pain, and people tend to underestimate the pain to try to seem calm and not hysterical, so they'll be taken seriously because a lot of the time people will not be taken seriously for their pain. And the limitations of these scales often lead to mismanagement of pain and the underestimation of pain, which ends up causing more pain for the patients. There are some ways we can improve pain communication, like using detailed questionnaires and more dynamic scales that actually address the impact pain has someone's life, rather than leaving it up to an objective number or emoji. If we give people more ways to describe pain, they'll likely do better at describing it, especially if the tools for measurement aren't as subjective. There are some other ways to improve pain measurement, like using brain imaging and biomarkers, like Boyle suggested. Using technology like that would help so many people get that treatment that they need, especially if they just don't know how to communicate the pain effectively. So to conclude this speech, understanding and describing pain is complex. However, if we invest in better tools and communication strategies, we can enhance how we can manage pain and make a real difference in the lives of people who suffer from chronic pain and pain that they cannot explain. And millions of people suffer every day because they feel pain, but they cannot find out how to describe it or explain it. And we have all felt pain at one point in our lives, and sometimes we just don't know how to describe it. And if we had more research, and not just pain description, but pain management, measurement, and understanding it, we could change the lives of those who suffer from pain and pain that they cannot describe. Thank you.